A very good day, dear students. In this video we shall see about the introduction to machining process and the basic machining process, that is lathe, and all the basic operations related to lathe, the various specifications for lathe, the construction of lathe, the various parts of lathe shall be covered in this video. A very good day, dear students. In this video you shall learn about the basics of fabrication process, the different types of joining process, that is welding, the basics of welding, the basic essential different types of welding, the brazing process and the soldering process. Also you shall see about the various differences in all the three: welding, brazing and soldering process. So this shall cover a part of your fourth module of the subject elements of mechanical engineering. Lathe is a basic machine which is used to machine metal, wood and other materials in order to get desired shape of the workpiece. In a lathe, the work is rotating and the cutting tool is fed against it. The rotating speed of the workpiece and the feed rate of the cutting tool depends upon the work required, and because of the opposite operation of the rotation of the workpiece and the feed of the cutting tool, the material is removed from the workpiece and we get the desired material. So lathe is a very basic tool that is used in industries and it is used to remove excess material from the workpiece, and most of the times the workpiece is cylindrical in shape. Lathe is also called as a turning machine because the workpiece is turned or rotated between the two centers. One is the live center, another one is the dead center, or one is the headstock and another one is the tailstock. So lathe is also called as a turning machine. Here you can see the basic principle of working of a center lathe. A lathe, basically a turning machine, works on the principle that a cutting tool can remove material in the form of fine chips from the rotating workpiece to produce circular object or cylindrical object. So the figure that you see shows a workpiece held rigidly by one of the work holding device known as the chuck, and it is rotated at a very high speed, and a V-shaped cutting tool that is held against the workpiece is moved in the opposite direction of rotation, and when it is moved in the opposite direction of rotation and moved parallel to the axis of the workpiece, it produces circular surfaces which can be seen in the figure. It is clearly evident in the figure. This operation is called as cylindrical turning or plane turning operation because we get cylindrical surfaces or plane cylindrical surfaces from this operation. So when tool moves perpendicular to the axis of rotation of the workpiece, a flat surface can be produced. When it is moving parallel to the workpiece, we get cylindrical surface. When it is moving perpendicular to the workpiece, we get a flat surface. This operation is called as facing operation. As seen in the figure below, facing operation produces flat surfaces and it is done by moving the tool perpendicular to the axis of rotation of the workpiece. Just like how in previous slides we saw tool piece moving parallel to the axis of rotation and perpendicular to the axis of rotation, we can also move the tool at an angle to the axis of rotation, and when we do that we get a tapered surface, and this tapered surface we call it as taper turning. You can see in the figure below, the tool is moving at an angle to the central axis of rotation of the workpiece. So this angle alpha is half angle of the taper. Thereby, by moving the workpiece at an angle to the axis of rotation, we get a tapered surface. This is called as taper turning. This is a picture of a lathe. You can see here the various parts. We shall see the explanation for all these parts in the coming slides. This is a 3D picture of a lathe. It will be easier for you to visualize the different parts and structures of lathe. So this is the schematic diagram of lathe. You can see the various parts of the lathe are explained or labeled in this schematic. We have a bed. Just above the bed we have a tray to carry all the waste products that are generated during the turning process, and also it carries the lubricant that is being used during the turning process. Then above the tray we can see the feed box. The feed box is used for giving the desired feed to the carriage, and then just above that we have the headstock. So the headstock has the engine. The source of energy is present in the headstock. It can be either in engine lathe we will have an engine, in a electric run lathe we will have all the electric connections in the headstock, and we will also have the desired setup for running the lathe, that is all the gear setup, the belt setup, all the driving setup, etc. will be within the headstock. Then you have the control system to regulate the speed of the revolving chuck. So gearbox controls is also given in the headstock. Just next to the headstock you can see 4-jawed chuck, and this 4-jawed chuck will hold the workpiece in the desired position during the operation. So this 4-jawed chuck will be driven in circular rotation by the headstock. You can also see the driving clutch or control lever that is used for driving the 4-jawed chuck. Then just on the right side we have a carriage assembly. So this carriage assembly consists of carriage traversing wheel, feed engage for giving the translational motion to the carriage, or auto translational motion to the carriage. Then we have the tool post that will hold the tool. We have the cross slide hand wheel that will help us to move the cross slide, that will give the depth of cut. Then we have tool post slide, which can be used for giving the parallel motion to the tool. Then on the right side of that we have the dead center or the tailstock, which has a ram and a ram clamp. So the tailstock's job is to hold the workpiece in the required position. So this is the basic diagram of the lathe. We shall see about the various parts of this lathe in the coming slides. So this is a neat schematic diagram of a lathe. Here it is shown in a much simpler way. This is also schematic diagram of the lathe, which is shown in a much simpler way. Here also you can see all the parts of the lathe. In addition to that, we also have a workpiece here in between the headstock and the tailstock, which is held in the chuck and supported in the dead center. And we have all the other parts also clearly labeled. So this is a schematic diagram of the lathe. So let us see the various parts of lathe. The first and foremost is the bed. So bed is the foundation part of lathe and it supports all other parts. It carries the weight of the entire lathe and all the parts that form the upper body. The top of the bed is formed by precision machined guideways. So there will be two sets of guideways, that is outer ways and inner ways. The headstock and the tailstock are mounted on the inner ways which keep them perfectly aligned with each other. The outer ways guide the longitudinal movement of the carriage assembly and align it with the center line of the lathe. Then we have the main drive. So an electric motor mounted in the left leg of the lathe in conjunction with the transmission system, like that of a belt or a gear drive from the motor onto the spindle that form the main drive of the lathe. So this is inside the headstock. This is inside the main drive is mounted inside the headstock. Then we have the cone pulley and back gear assembly. So the cone pulley, it drives the main spindle through belting and is driven by the motor. The various spindle speeds can be obtained by shifting the belt on the different steps of the cone pulley. The spindle speeds can also be further varied using a back gear arrangement. So we can get various speeds, different speeds in this type of lathe by the help of cone pulley and the back gear. Then we have the headstock. Just above the bed we have the headstock. It is clearly visible in the diagram in the previous slide. So the headstock housing comprises of a feed gearbox and the cone pulley, and it is called headstock of the lathe. The main spindle projects out from the headstock and the headstock will be rigidly mounted on the lathe bed at its left end. Then we have the tailstock. So the tailstock is the movable part of the lathe and it carries the dead center. The main function of the tailstock is to support the free end of the long workpieces. It is also used to clamp the tools like twist drills, reamers, etc. for making holes and taps, and dies for cutting the threads. So the tailstock is mounted loosely on the lathe bedways and can be moved and locked in any desired position. So basically it provides support for the other end of the rotating workpiece and it holds tool for performing activities like drilling, reaming, tapping, etc. This is the major function of the tailstock. The next part of the lathe is the carriage assembly. So the carriage assembly serves to support the tool and rides over the bedways longitudinally between the headstock and the tailstock. So it is composed of 5 major parts, that is the saddle, the cross slide, the compound rest, the apron and the tool post. We shall see about the apron and the tool post in the next slide. In this slide we shall cover the saddle, the cross slide and the compound rest. So saddle is a H-shaped casting that slides over the outer set of the guideways and it serves as the base for the cross slide. The cross slide is mounted on the saddle and it enables the movement of the cutting tool laterally across the lathe bed by means of cross feed and hand wheel, and it also serves as a support for the compound rest. Next is the compound rest. So it is mounted on the top of the cross slide and it supports the tool post. It can be swiveled to any angle in the horizontal plane to facilitate taper turning and threading operation. It is moved manually by the compound rest feed handle, and it is independent of the lathe's cross feed. It is used to get taper surfaces. It helps the cutting tool to be swiveled at any angle in order to obtain the taper surface. The next part is the tool post, that is part of the carriage assembly. So the tool post is mounted on the compound rest. Tool post is mounted in the T slot of the compound rest, and the tool post clamps the tool holder in the proper position for the machining operations or during the machining operations. Next is apron. Apron is mounted at the front of the saddle beneath it and houses the carriage assembly and the cross slide mechanism. So the apron hand wheel moves the carriage assembly manually by means of rack and pinion gears. So next is the feed rod. So the feed rod is a stationary rod. It is mounted in front of the lathe bed. It runs through the lathe bed through the entire entire length, and it is stationary rod mounted in front of the lathe bed, and it facilitates longitudinal movement of the carriages during the turning operation, during the boring operation, and during the phasing operations. Next is a lead screw. So lead screw is a screw rod which runs longitudinally in front of the lathe bed. The rotation of the lead screw moves the carriage to and fro longitudinally during the thread cutting operations or during the thread cutting process. Then in addition to this we have a lead screw. So lead screw is a screw rod which runs longitudinally in front of the lathe bed, and the rotation of the lead screw moves the carriage to and fro longitudinally during the thread cutting operation. We also have a feed gearbox. So the feed gearbox is mounted on the left side of the lathe bed and below the headstock. It houses the required necessary gears and other driving mechanisms that transmit the various feed gears ratios to the headstock spindle, to either the lead screw or to the feed rod. Next, we shall see the various operations that are covered or that are done in a lathe. We shall see the specifications of a lathe machine. So the size of a lathe is specified by the following figure. The maximum diameter of the workpiece that can be revolved over the lathe bed. Instead of this, sometimes the height of the centers above the lathe bed is also specified. So one of these specifications is given by the manufacturers. However, both of them are loosely called as the swing of the lathe. As you can see in the diagram, the distance between the lathe bed and the center of the two centers and the axis of the two centers, that is live center and the dead center. So this gives the swing of the lathe. The second one is maximum diameter and the width of the workpiece that can swing when the lathe has a gap bed. So the maximum diameter and width of the workpiece that can swing when the lathe has a gap between the centers and the bed. The third specification is the maximum length of the workpiece that can be mounted between the centers. So it is the distance between the live center and the dead center. It is the distance between the live center and the dead center, the distance between the centers. It specifies the length of the workpiece that can be mounted on the lathe. Then overall length of the bed. So it is the total length of the lathe itself, the entire length of the lathe itself. So this gives us a fair idea about the area required for keeping the lathe in the workshop. So in addition to this, we can also have specifications like speed of the lathe or the driving system of the lathe, which is present inside the headstock. So this will give the speed of the lathe. Here it is shown in a much simpler way. This is also schematic diagram of the lathe, which is shown in a much simpler way. Here also you can see all the parts of the lathe. In addition to that, we also have a workpiece here in between the headstock and the tailstock, which is held in the chuck and supported in the dead center. And we have all the other parts also clearly labeled. So this is a schematic diagram of the lathe. So now let us see the various lathe operations. So cylindrical turning, it is also called plain turning or straight turning. So in this operation, excess material from the workpiece is removed in order to produce a cylindrical surface. So cylindrical turning can be done either through rough turning or through finish turning. It is the most common type of operation in all lathe machine operations, and it is the operation of removing excess material from the workpiece in order to produce a cylindrical surface up to the desired length. So the job is held between the center of a chuck and the rotating, and it is rotated at a required speed, and turning is done in order to decrease the diameter of the workpiece or decrease the diameter of the metal. You can clearly see in the diagram how the depth of the cut is given, what is the motion or direction of motion of the tool, and at the same time the workpiece is revolved or rotated at a given speed. The next operation is the facing operation. It is similar to turning operation, only difference is that the workpiece, instead of traveling parallel to the axis of the lathe, it travels perpendicular to the axis of the lathe, thereby producing a horizontal surface. So facing operation for generating flat surface at the end of the workpiece, facing will generate a flat surface at the end of the workpiece, and it is also carried out to reduce or cut the workpiece to the desired length. It is used to cut the workpiece to the desired length. So facing is a process of removing excess material but at the end of the workpiece, and it produces a flat surface. You can see the facing operation in the figure given below. The workpiece is revolving and the tool is moved perpendicular to the axis of rotation. Again, this slide also explains the facing operation in a much elaborated way. You can see the workpiece is revolving, this axis of the workpiece, and the tool is moved such that the material at the flat surface is removed. So this is also a facing operation. This is a picture of the facing operation. You can see flat surfaces are generated You can also see the chips of the material that is getting removed, small pieces in form of fine chips or fine particles we can see in the workpiece. The next operation is the taper turning operation. So taper turning is a process of producing conical surfaces from a cylindrical shaped workpiece. So taper turning is produced when cutting tool moves at an angle to the axis of rotation of the workpiece. It can be produced by various methods like swiveling of the compound rest, by offsetting the tailstock, by using a taper turning attachment, by using a form tool method. So these are the various methods by which the taper turning operation can be done. So basically taper turning is operation wherein the diameter of the workpiece changes uniformly from one end to the other end, and the shape of the piece is in the tapered form. So taper turning is a machining operation wherein gradual reduction in the diameter from one part of the cylindrical workpiece to the another part is clearly evident or clearly visible. So taper turning is an operation on the lathe in order to produce a conical surface. We shall see the diagram of taper turning operation, by which it will be more clearer for you to visualize it. So this is a taper turning operation which is carried out by swiveling the compound rest. This method of taper turning is shown in the figure below. It is more suitable for workpiece which require steep taper for short lengths. The compound tool rest is swiveled to the required tapered angle, and then it is locked in that angular position. The carriage is also locked in the required position at that particular location, and for taper turning the compound tool rest is moved linearly at an angle so that the cutting tool produces the tapered surface on the workpiece. So this method is limited to short tapered length due to the limited movement of the compound tool rest. So the compound rest supporting the tool is swiveled to the desired angle to which the taper is produced. It is explained in the figure. You can see how the feed is given, the position of the tool, how the slide moves in that particular direction when the workpiece is revolving, and the formula for calculating the angle alpha is equal to tan inverse of capital D minus small d divided by 2L, where D is the larger diameter, capital D is the larger diameter, smaller d is the smaller diameter of the taper that is required to be produced, and L is the length of the taper that is required to be produced. You can see clearly from the diagram below. So the next step is offsetting the tailstock. So in this method, taper is produced by shifting the axis of rotation of the workpiece at an angle to the lathe axis, and then the tool is moved parallel to the lathe axis. This method is used for producing small tapers on long workpieces, and the angle at which the axis of rotation of the workpiece is shifted is also equal to half the angle of the taper. So tailstock offset method, also known as set over tailstock method, clearly explained in the figure. It is most commonly used method for taper turning. So whenever the tailstock center is set out of alignment, the workpiece gets taper turned because of its axis will be inclined at an angle with the longitudinal movement of the tool. which will be parallel to the lathe bed. So the entire carriage assembly is to be moved parallel to the lathe bed to cut the taper. Since the amount of offset is limited by the size of the tailstock, this method is more suitable for jobs having a less taper. And as the carriage is moved to cut the taper, it will be possible to produce taper on the long workpieces. Thus, this method is best suited for long workpieces having less taper, and only external tapers can be produced by this method. So here you can see how the tailstock is moved away, or how the tailstock is offset, which in turn tilts the workpiece, thereby producing the taper. So the method shown in figure, the taper is produced by shifting the tailstock, and the offset angle can be calculated using this formula, capital D minus small d into LW divided by 2 LT, where capital D is the larger diameter of the workpiece, small d is the smaller diameter of the workpiece, LT is the length of the taper, LW is the length of the entire workpiece. So the angle at which the axis of rotation of the workpiece is shifted is equal to half the angle of taper. The next method is taper turning by a form tool. As you can see, the tool will have the shape of the taper that is to be generated. So when the workpiece revolves, the shape of the tool itself will be generated on the surface of the workpiece. So this is taper turning by a form tool. The next operation is knurling operation. So knurling is a process carried out to form attractive criss-cross pattern on the surface of the metallic parts. As you can see in the figure below, you can see the knurled part. So the workpiece revolves at a very slower speed compared to the normal other operations, and the knurling tool is pressed against the rotating workpiece, and the pressure is slowly increased until the tool produces the desired pattern on the workpiece. You can see the knurling tool and what shape it produces. So knurling is process of impressing a diamond shaped straight or straight line pattern onto the surface of the workpiece by using specially shaped hardened metal wheel, and it is used to improve the appearance or to improve the grip and to produce better gripping surface. This is one of the knurled workpiece. You can see the others on the next slide. So here you can see knurling operation. So the workpiece is fitted on the chuck, it revolves, and the feed is given to the knurling tool, and knurling tool is impressed on the workpiece. We can have an angular pattern, a diamond pattern, a straight pattern as per our requirement. This is one more example, a knurled shape. We can see a diamond knurled shape. Here you can see other shapes and how exactly knurling is done. you can see the three jawed chuck and the workpiece is held, and on the tool post you have the knurling tool in the picture on the bottom side of the slide, and it is impressed on the surface of the workpiece to get the desired knurling shape or knurled shape. Here you can see the various types of tools that can be used for knurling operation. There will be two wheels, so crisscross, opposite direction crisscross, so that on the workpiece we get a diamond shape. You can see how the two different types of angular cuts are produced on the tool pieces, and also you can adjust the distance between the tool pieces in the second one to get more distance or lesser distance, etc. So this is a typical example of the tool for knurling. So next important operation is the thread cutting operation. So thread cutting operation for cutting screw threads on metallic parts. It is suitable tool gives the required thread profile, that is V thread, square thread, etc. This also is done in lathe with the help of the feed rod and the lead screw. So thread cutting operation is also done in lathe. As you can see here, you will get the desired threads just like you get on the surface of the screws, etc. So thread cutting on lathe is process that produces helical ridge of uniform section on the workpiece, and it is performed by taking successive cuts on with the threading tool with the same shape as the thread form is required. So this is the schematic diagram of the thread cutting operation. You can see the tool, feed is given and the workpiece is revolving. So the path of the tool will be at the desired locations only with successive cuts. With successive depths, it will move in the desired path and at desired location itself. So here more elaborated pictorial view of the thread cutting operation is shown. How the tool moves in the workpiece. You can see three-jawed chuck is used to hold the workpiece. It is revolving, and the workpiece is revolving at high speed. The tool is moving in the desired location, and threading is generated. You can see the three pictures wherein threading is done. The next operation is grooving. So it is an operation of reducing the diameter of the workpiece in the form of a neck or a narrow groove of desired shape, either round, square or V shaped. So you can see the groove. The next type of operation is chamfering. This is done to remove the sharp edges. So if sharp edges are there in the workpieces, it will tend to cutting or damaging the surfaces that come into contact with it. So in order to prevent that, we normally chamfer the edge of the workpiece. So chamfering is a process of cutting the sharp or removing the sharp edges at the end of the workpiece in order to produce a beveled edge at a desired angle. So it is done to prevent any damages to the parts that are coming into contact with the workpiece. So next operation is drilling on a lathe. As you can see, and I had mentioned earlier, lathe tailstock is used for the process of drilling. So the drill bit is mounted in the lathe's tailstock. So drilling operation for producing a cylindrical hole in a workpiece can be done. It is done by rotating the tool and rotating side of the cutter known as the drill bit. So in this operation, workpiece is revolving at desired speed. Workpiece is held in the headstock in either 3-jawed or 4-jawed chuck, and it will be revolving, and the drill is held in the tailstock and drill holder, tailstock drill holder or the drill chuck. So the drill bit is stationary and the workpiece is revolving, and as the workpiece is moved towards the tailstock, we get the desired depth, or the tool can also be moved to inside the workpiece in order to get the desired depth of cut. You can see it in the diagram. In the tailstock we have the drill bit which is inserted into the workpiece in the desired, to get the desired depth of cut. So various drilling operations can be done in lathe, like counter boring operation, drilling operation, and tapping operation, boring operation, reaming operation, countersinking operations. So we have to use a suitable tool for the desired operation, and using a suitable tool we can do the desired operation. The tool will be held in the tailstock. So counter boring, the top side diameter will increase. Drilling, just like explained in the previous slide, creating a hole in the workpiece. Boring, increasing the diameter of the existing hole. Reaming and tapping operation also can be done. Then countersinking, also giving the slide or angled shape at the top of the workpiece. So these are the various drilling operations that can be done in the lathe. Yeah, thank you guys. With this, the basic machine tool lathe, its various specifications, different parts and various operations that can be done in lathe is covered. Thank you.